The images you're about to see in this video fall under fair use, which means I can use them without being sued or this video being taken down by YouTube for no apparent reason. It's January 29th, 2016 here in Eastern Tennessee, and it's cold. Yes, a cold front has moved in, and I want to say it's about 33 to 34 degrees, and for us here in East Tennessee, that's pretty cold. But you know, I'm managing to survive and just put a shirt, a little hat, and some jogging pants, and the reality of it is I can probably stand the cold in exactly what I'm wearing for several hours. In fact, if I had to survive, I could probably survive a lot longer. So yes, even though it is rather cold and the occasional snow flurry is hitting my face, which is causing every southerner to run out and get bread and milk and eggs as fast as they can, and if you're a southerner, you truly get that joke. But yes, even though it is cold and the wind is whipping around, and for we here in the South, it's absolutely miserable cold. The reality is, as I look around, I realize that it's only a matter of a few weeks until everything that I'm looking at behind me, the beautiful mountains, the valley, it will all be green. It will all be green, and the earth will start producing its fruit again, and the cold will give way to warmth. And in fact, in just a few months, I'll be talking about how miserable hot and how awful the mosquitoes are. And that's the amazing part about planet Earth, is that we can survive here, we live here. But we have other planets all over our solar system where that isn't the case. The reality is that all of the planets that we know of, period, in the universe, we have absolutely no evidence that they support life whatsoever. And that makes Earth special. That makes Earth real special. But it doesn't mean that we're not interested in what all of the other planets are like, and what it's like to be on Mars, or what it's like to be on Jupiter, or these other planets. And scientists have gone out of their way in the past 20 years to explain to us how insignificant we are, and how Earth is just one of a million other planets just like Earth, and how we are just another life form of billions of life forms in the universe. But we're just not doing a whole lot to kind of prove that point. Now listen, this is not a conspiracy video. So please don't go that route with this video and label it as some type of conspiracy nonsense, even though conspiracy videos are a whole lot of fun. No, this is just wondering if NASA has perhaps lost its way. Now, I'm not a NASA hater. Listen, since I was a young kid, I have been fascinated with space exploration. You know, the first book that I remember reading from front to back was probably 5 years old, and it was Charlie Brown's Book of Questions and Answers. I've got a picture here that you can see now. In fact, many of you probably had that same book. There were several editions, and in the space portion of all of those Charlie Brown Book of Questions and Answers, they had where we were at in our vision at the time. The space shuttle was up and running, but the space shuttle was supposed to be just sort of a temporary launching system until we had super space stations that make the ISS sort of look like a gas station off of an exit of a highway. Big space stations. We were supposed to have moon bases by now and colonies on Mars, and we were supposed to be doing all kinds of things in the solar system. What happened? Well, none of it happened, actually. Okay, so we sent a high-tech SUV and a couple of little robots with cameras to Mars, but we're just not going far enough. And I'm afraid we're not doing anything to perpetuate, anything to make that bigger, to perpetuate the narrative. In fact, when I hear science talking a lot, and when I say science, I'm just referring to press releases by NASA or by people, contractors affiliated with NASA, or just scientists, popular scientists, we talk about often exploring the origins of life. And that's interesting stuff, exploring the origins of life. But doesn't that start with exploring the solar system? And the reason why I'm all ruffled about this is because NASA released a few weeks ago that the next phase of our Mars exploration experimentation is to land on 2 asteroids, a couple of asteroids, and kind of divert one of those asteroids into an orbit of the moon, and somehow that's going to help us with Mars. And I'm screaming nonsense. There's actually another modern term that people say when they think something's baloney. They'll use another word, but I don't want to use this. This is sort of a all-inclusive YouTube channel to an extent. I just call nonsense. You know, when we went to the moon, We just went to the moon. We didn't do 50 things in space to get to the moon. We launched what essentially was a chemical fueled bullet to the moon. We landed on the moon, and it was dangerous. It was extremely dangerous. If you're one of those hoax people, this video probably isn't for you, but I will say this. One of the things that fuel fake moon's conspiracies or fake moon landing, what fuels that line of thinking, which is silly. I don't agree with the fake moon landing. That's just nonsense. But one of the things that fuel those conspiracies is how ridiculous NASA comes across sometimes, but more than that, how arrogant NASA has become in recent years. Very arrogant. NASA knows best. I mean, that's kind of the attitude and the frustration from people like me. And listen, I represent millions of people. Just surf around line. NASA, you got a major PR problem and you don't know it because your nose is so far stuck in the air that you're not willing to hear it. People don't really trust you anymore. And I don't mean just a few people, I mean millions of people. Now, it's likely that this YouTube video will be labeled conspiracy or whatever due to the new fake news police, but that's fine. I don't mind a bit because it's the truth that hurts, not a lie. And it's the truth that NASA has definitely lost control of their own narrative. Sorry, NASA, I love you. I grew up with you. I believe in you, but you've lost your way. You're backslidden. You need to repent, get back on track because, quite frankly, our imagination is just bigger than what you're willing to produce and what you're willing to try. There was an old saying that was back out in the 60s among astronauts. If you want bucks, you need Buck Rogers. And the reality right now is there's just nothing exciting about the space program right now.
Okay, I admit it. I'm being too hard on NASA to an extent. And yes, my imagination is bigger than NASA's budget, and you can blame the Walt Disney Company for that. Anyway, yes, the taxpayers have been provided with some amazing images just in the past couple of decades, and apparently we've discovered water on Mars, which is all the more reason we should be breaking the bank to get there, because if you're in my age group, we were told for decades that if you find water on Mars, you'll probably find life. And you have to give a lot of credit to NASA just for making our lives better. I mean, look around your kitchen, your car, and most modern conveniences, not to mention medical applications. We owe a lot to NASA. So yes, I'm grateful, and yes, I applaud all of NASA's hard work.
I want to say this. If you work at NASA, you're probably a million times smarter than I am. You're probably brilliant in 5 different ways, and I'm proud of you, and I'm thankful for your service. This has to do with a philosophy and an overall mission that NASA's just failing at. Recently, it was in the news that there was an uproar because NASA had removed a part of its mission statement, which was the Earth's defense.
One of the main reasons that's suspected for this change is because of funding. NASA had several different government agencies tugging and pulling on it for different research that had political motivations, and this made it kind of hard for NASA to focus.
And sure, it's cool to lasso in some asteroids, but it would be even cooler to put people on Mars. And from all accounts, we can do it, and we can do it quickly. It's time for NASA to getting to work, doing what the American people want.
But like most government agencies over the past couple of decades, NASA just isn't paying attention. Look, NASA, we want boots on the ground. We want moon bases, manned Mars colonies, and RV-like spaceships just out there exploring. And yes, we want men and women filling those boots on the ground and driving around in their spaceship RV. That's just what we want. We wanted all of this yesterday. And NASA, you've been tasked with the mission to make this happen, regardless of the budget. Well, NASA thumbs its nose up at crazy YouTube conspiracies about secret space programs, or my personal favorite, that aliens told us we had to leave the moon, which is why we never went back. That's my personal favorite. The occasional sensation that NASA provides as we whiz right past the demoted Pluto, hashtag Pluto is a planet, it's not enough to sustain your budget. You need to remember who pays for your programs, who your real investors really are, which is the American people, lower middle class, upper middle class people who actually work and pay the bills. NASA, you've got this. Make it happen. You can do it. And stop stalling us. The tinfoil hat people are killing you in a PR campaign. And while you're dismissing all of it as fake news or information belonging in clumps on a cow pasture, as the saying goes, if you hold animal waste in one hand and nothing in the other, which hand fills up quicker? Okay, actually, I don't think the saying goes that way, but I hope you get my point. The bottom line is that you have more and more people every year screaming, NASA, get to work. This whole asteroid idea is just, well, it's just silly.
I was generally entertained by Matt Damon's work in the movie The Martian, where he scienced the poop out of stuff. Literally, he used poop to grow potatoes on Mars. That was pretty cool, pretty entertaining. No aliens, no laser blasters, no, no space fantasy going on with aliens coming down. And that was kind of neat. I liked it. But the problem is we should have already been there. And it's a shame that that kind of a movie represents where we want to be in the whole exploration of space as opposed to where we are. It's 2017. 2017. So I take your mind to another Mars movie that was made almost 20 years ago. The date that they're going to Mars in that movie was 2020. And again, NASA, where are you at? And you know what we're tired of hearing about? Budget. Do you know there's been a lot of proposals of going to Mars on the cheap and that it would actually work? One person in particular has pioneered that whole understanding of going to Mars with existing technology. Where are you at, NASA?
Well, until NASA finds a way to get us to Mars so we can science the poop out of things, we're stuck here. But that's good news because this channel, this YouTube channel, is dedicated to life. And as of right now, the only life that we know about is right here on planet Earth. That means that you're special, you're significant, and hey, if we find a whole host of life elsewhere, that doesn't take away from how significant and how important you are. In fact, there's nothing else in the universe that's like you. My name is Bill Marion, this is A Nose for Life, and don't forget to find the amazing things that are on this planet. We are surrounded with the most amazing things in the entire universe. Thank you for watching. Please help us grow this channel. Like the channel, share the channel, and of course, subscribe.